has always been an option to significantly diminish the threat to Israel. There has always been an option. It's to create a weapons of mass destruction free zone in the Middle East. We have one in Latin America, a weapons of mass destruction free zone. We have one in Africa. We have one in the South Pacific. What's the obstacle? There is one obstacle to eliminating all nuclear weapons in the Middle East, all nuclear weapons in the Middle East, to significantly diminish the threat to Israel. We have that option. Who's blocked it? Who has refused? Iran has gone along with it. All the other Middle Eastern states have gone along with it. Only one state, the one who pretends to be for peace and for security, which has opposed the weapons of mass destruction free zone in the Middle East. That's Israel. Iran is a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Is Israel a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty? In fact,
Piers, is he going to answer questions?
If you look,
Finkelstein dropping again. So
that Iran has in mind. First of all,
so there's been a lot of updates when it comes to the Iran war in the past 48 hours again. And the most latest is Israel struck a nuclear site in Iran, and Iran retaliated and struck a nuclear site in Israel. At least that was the latest. There was some claims that it was a residential area, but let's see how that plays out. Israel's health ministry says at least 4,292 people are injured since the start of the war. As of today, Iran's missile attack on Israel's southern city of DIMONA injured at least 39 people. So the numbers are increasing quite fast. What's the current toll? Oh, I have this one. Victim? No, not victims. This is probably from all sides, so 60,000 people. The conflict map is getting out of hand already. Location of a reported IDF vehicles, gunshots audible in Nablus. Iranian strikes on Tel Aviv again. Haifa has some. Also, Hezbollah was bombing IDF soldiers in Lebanon quite harshly. And Tehran is also, at the moment, getting hit. Baghdad got hit. As we can see, like, the number of strikes. What is that? Oh, it was the French aircraft carrier in Charles de Gaulle, 100 kilometers north of Algiers. Oh, okay. That's the one. They say this will lead to massive famine in Africa. Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. Part of an Iranian missile after it fell near Qamishli, Syria.
That Iran has in mind. First,
here's an interesting take. Is like Iran is negotiating an end to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz by allowing countries to pass if they shift from the US dollars to Chinese yen for oil trades. This would cost the US about $3 trillion a year and weaken the dominance of the dollar. We know we're going to have to feed Africa again. I mean, it's good. It's a good sign of morality if a wealthier nation can provide assistance to those countries or people who don't have as much wealth, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. But Iran is playing with fire now because, like, if they're trying to influence the oil trade being done other than US dollars, we know in the past what happens to countries like that. Just look at Iraq, Libya, Syria, Venezuela. One thing that the United States doesn't take too kindly is when you try and diminish the petrodollar. 3 trillion, that's a lot of inflation. Things that lack intellect and will cannot come into existence on their own. It's not a coincidence, I want to warn you. What? It's over for Iran. 20 countries are sending ships to open up the strait. Name those 20 countries. No. Name those 20 countries, Glenn Sharp. They didn't want our Danish dog set that we apparently spent 2 billion on. Is the Supreme Leader alive? No widespread announcement of actual ship deployment from these 20 plus countries have occurred. Some, like the UK, have sent limited assets or planners, but nothing of the scale of 20 countries' naval force escorting traffic. So that's a nothing burger again. There's a broad international rhetorical support from over 20 countries for keeping the strait open, but no evidence of 20 countries actively sending ships right now. The situation remains tense while oil price is impacted and ongoing calls for coalitions that hasn't fully materialized yet. So, no. There's no ships going there at the moment. Do you speak English? No, I don't. Japan has not sent 3 ships or any warships to the Strait of Hormuz as of March 21st, 2026. Japan's government, including Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi and Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi, has repeatedly stated there are no current plans to deploy Maritime Self-Defense Forces, MSDF, vessels or warships to the region for escort, minesweeping, or other military operations amid the Iran conflict and the de facto closure of the strait. Japan joined a joint statement March 19, 2026 with Britain, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Canada, South Korea, and others, eventually over 20 signatories, expressing readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts. Readiness, you fucking idiot, Glenn Sharp. Readiness. For safe passage and condemning Iran's actions. This is diplomatic and preparatory language, not a commitment to send ships, you fucking idiot. This is what you get when you listen to Fox News and you listen to Donald Trump. Glenn Sharp on YouTube is a great example of what you get. Trump has publicly pressured Japan and others like China, South Korea, and the UK to send warships, but Japanese officials have emphasized constitutional limits, Pacifist Article 9. describing the threshold for deploying an extremely high and focusing on diplomacy, intelligence gathering, and non-combat support. You a Zionist? No, fuck no. How many ships Ireland will send? Oh, that's right, they don't have any. It's interesting that the big and mighty United States, who caused the issue, Trump caused this issue, is now begging for other countries to come and help him. Europe is sending warm cocoa. Finland is sending Koskenkorva. Sweden is sending IKEA meatballs. Norway is sending the penguin that's the King's Guard. Who the fuck is that? Norwegian King's Guard penguin. There we go. Nils Olav. Major General Sir Nils Olav III is going to open the Strait of Hormuz. Iceland sending puffins. He's not begging anyone. Yes, he is. Oh my fucking god. Don't be such a MAGA idiot and just fucking take the L. France gifted its sausages. Germany is going to send some lederhostens. UK is going to send fish and chips. South Korea is going to send one of the K-pop bands there. What else? Japan is going to send the Ginyu Force from Dragon Ball. Declar51 is sending his ex-wife. I mean, that's a pretty good. I can send something as well. I can send thoughts and prayers. Those have worked so far. Those are the go-to every time there's a catastrophe in the United States. That's you don't need to do anything. You just send thoughts and prayers. So I'm gonna send also thoughts and prayers. But apparently that's a really effective way to like make things better. We've seen that work with the school shootings all the time. The best way to stop school shooting is thoughts and prayers. Maybe people should pray a bit harder and think a bit harder as well. Are legislators aware of what happened in the Cole slaughterhouse? They will open up the strait. I mean, Iran has a plan already. That they will open up the strait for people who are willing to do business with them in Chinese yen.
First of all, any vessel who wants to pass through the Strait of Hormuz needs to pay some tariffs.
Or maybe change your Facebook picture to a flag.
It would not be like before to go through there.
Iran is negotiating an end to the blockade of Strait of Hormuz by allowing countries to pass if they shift from US dollar to Chinese yen for oil trades. This would cost the US $3 trillion a year and weaken the dominance of the dollar. That would actually like have a big effect. A non-believer wouldn't understand the power of prayers. Robbie, you might want to ask the families of those children who have died in the school shootings in the United States. What's your thoughts and prayers have been helping them? I will use my common sense and logic versus your prayers. Go to a highway and start praying on a highway during night with nothing like no signal vests or anything. No flashlights, no anything. You start praying. I use my common sense. Let's see who lives. Fucking idiot. Germany's gonna sing 99 rockets, and fortunately for US, Iran is not calling the shots. And then, and let them parents know that their kids are in a better place. Oh yeah. Yeah, keep your thoughts and prayers to like yourself. They're not helping anyone. Trump and Netanyahu started a regional war in the Middle East, creating a humanitarian disaster, and now the Israeli army has killed over 1,000 people in Lebanon. About 20% of them are kids. That's not a surprise because IDF really doesn't like differentiate if it's an adult or a kid. On the contrary, they really like killing children. So IDF is like is unlocking achievements by killing kids. What does like 200 kids matter to them when they've killed already like 30,000 plus? What are we doing to destroy the immediate range ballistic missiles that were launched at Diego Car? What are we doing to destroy the immediate range ballistic missiles? I mean, if you don't want to get like targeted by ballistic missiles, maybe don't start a war with them. That's just my thought, you know? They're not shooting ballistic missiles to Finland. They're not shooting ballistic missiles to Ireland or Canada. That like one of the easiest ways not to make enemies like and people shouting death to your country is not fucking starting a war every decade. Not attacking them every decade. Or in this case, twice a year. Bros of atheism, you're not afraid of hell's punishment. Ah, fuck no. Hell sounds like a nice place. I would rather be in hell than in heaven. Heaven sounds really fucking boring. Because if you think about it, like, the church, Christian church has demonized, like, heavy metal for a long time. So according to Christians, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy Osbourne, and all of those would be in hell. I would gladly go to hell with Jimi Hendrix and Ozzy Osbourne and Lemmy from Motorhead, and Ronnie James Dio, all of those fucking legends. We would have a really good time there. What are we, Nikita? Warren, thanks for the follow. I'll chill in hell with you anytime. Anyway, I'm moving back to the Netherlands in 4 weeks. Fuck the US. Oh, that's a good show. Like, Netherlands is like one of those countries that I highly recommend moving. Netherlands is a nice place. Ireland, Netherlands, Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. Any of them. Estonia is a really cool place. Estonia is one of those hidden gems at the moment in Europe if you want to move to Europe. Like, Estonia has picked up their game a lot in the past 2 decades. See you in hell, Alicia. Well, I'll be there, Miss Zen. All the cool people are in hell. It kind of sounds like that. I have a lot of friends in hell. I'll bring the ice. I'm afraid US will make hell unaffordable. Oh god. If superpowers like America can't even defend HORMUZ, do you think a single ship from Japan or EU can help? I mean, if Bibi Netanyahu didn't fucking drag the US into the war, this wouldn't be an issue. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but Bibi has been waging war against Iran since in the early 90s. And now he got a sucker in the White House that actually was willing to go to war. And this is the result. Now they fucked up again things for everybody. And now they're asking everybody else to come and bail them out. Unknown thing. Not a hot take, little fact. I mean, it's still debatable who wears the pants in that relationship, but I think it's like kind of clear already. Ice will bring down the property values in hell. Leave them in limbo. It's silly to have that conversation, but it's also always funny that usually the religion that is the most vocal in my chats are Christians because they are super salty when I don't care about any religion. I think all the religions are like shouldn't be in politics and should only be a personal thing. That's it. Shouldn't affect the mass. Should only affect you. If you want to believe in Odin or if you want to believe in Zeus or Krishna or Shiva or Prophet Muhammad or Allah or Whatever you want to believe in, it's your own thing. Or if you want to believe in Jesus or Joseph Smith. If you want to believe Joseph Smith. Is anyone connecting the fact China locked silver down and the military needs silver for the radars? Don't people realize the people in Iran are being killed in the name of God and religion? They are. The Bible calls Lucifer the bright morning star in the Revelations. Jesus calls himself bright morning. It's like before you were born. So yeah, going home, looking forward to eating good food again. I mean, at least less toxic. When you get to Netherlands, that's the first thing you do when you get to Europe from the United States is buy Fanta. And enjoy like what Fanta really tastes like, not that poison that they have in the United States that doesn't even look like fucking Fanta. Samuel, thanks for the follow, and John Doe as well. Fanta is like incredibly good. Do you think the 5,000 troops heading to Kark Island will be okay? I think it's a suicide mission, honestly. Well, I kind of feel bad for the relatives and the family members of those troops because they're going to Kark Island and potentially not potentially, but like most likely putting their lives on risk just because you need to protect pedophiles. So that's a really dumb reason to get yourself killed or hurt. Just for the pedophiles to be roaming free. First thing you do is bend over and call yourself woke. What? Some people will die for sure, but it's a sacrifice that Trump... Some people will die for sure, but it's a sacrifice that Trump willing to make. Exactly. Trump isn't sending Barron there. Barron just turned 20. We could send Barron there. Like, if Barron Trump was sent to the fucking front lines of Kark Island, the war would be ended instantly. If there was even a 1% chance that Barron Trump would go into the front lines and would see conflict and would see battle, the war would end instantly. Are you okay with Muslims migrating to your country? Yeah. I'm a migrant myself. So I don't really see a problem there. I have Muslim neighbors. I have a few neighbors from India. I have my left-hand neighbor is a family from Poland. Then we have a few Irish in this suburb outside the main city that we live in. Like, there's a lot of migrant families here. Why the fuck do you, like, are you that afraid of like different cultures? Magical BS, thanks for the follow. Ireland mentioned. Yeah. It is Islam we are up against. No, I don't think I'm up against, like, Islam isn't in the government, though. I'm against the people who are making decisions. I don't care about, like, religion. I care about religion if the religion is in the government and making decisions based on religion. I am against government and the people in power who are fucking up the country for all the bullshit reasons. He's afraid of Melania. No. I feel bad for Melania because he needs to be together with a man who literally fucked a porn star while she was pregnant with his son, and then he needs to look like he gives a fuck because she needs the money. I feel bad for Melania Trump having to stand next to a fucking monster and a complete, like, morally bankrupt orange man just for money. Yeah, I know she chose it, but Melania was one of the victims in the day. She knows how he really is. To be honest, she's probably not a saint either. Yeah, true. We're looking at roughly with what's already been used. We're looking at closely to $300 billion spent so far into the war. I think there's the war counter somewhere. Iran war counter. No, cost. There's an Iran war cost page somewhere. Oh, there we go. 27 billion at the moment. And going. Must be so exhausting to hate so much. I don't hate anyone. As I said it, I feel bad for Melania. I don't hate Melania. Not afraid of other cultures, but in the US on the daily we have Muslims threatening our lives. Oh, every day. You're being threatened by a Muslim. Who cares we're 37 trillion? It's 39 trillion AV8. It's kind of concerning that I know how much debt you have. And you don't. If you're from the United States, you should like keep up with your fucking numbers. How do you guys feel about the military saying Trump is anointed by Jesus? It's a holy war. Remember back in like Iraq war days when they were talking about jihad? It's Trump's own holy war now. Hey, thanks for the sub, Giovanni. I used to like Trump, honestly, never voted for him, but man, what the fuck is he doing? Exactly. That's what he like. He's doing exactly that. And it's like, the reason why Trump is a bit of a problematic leader is because he never admits defeat. He never admits that he's wrong. He never corrects that what he's saying. He never says sorry. He never apologizes. That's a horrible sign of a leader, and that should be a fucking red flag for anyone. Like, he's willing to go to the end to claim victory. That is a dangerous feat for a leader. Trump converted to Judaism like 6 months ago. Yeah. Getting those pity points, I think. I never liked Trump even before he ran for office. He actually does something that others don't have guts to. Make decisions emotionally. Yeah, true. That is true. I don't think any other president has done that. Completely dictate your policies based on emotions. That is a really... That's not a good feat for a president, you know. The sad thing is Trump is not a problem. If you understand geopolitical American actions on empires in decline, it's not weird. Everybody loved Trump before he was president until the liberal media say he bad. You have a really weird relationship with like famous people if you're using the word love that hastily. Like, I feel bad for your family if you use the term love on somebody you don't actually know and who doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, who the hell uses love like that? You shouldn't use love like that. And yet Republicans say election women is problematic because of their emotionality. Exactly, beloved. That is a really, really good point. And now we see like Trump is deciding what states get like support if they have natural disasters based on what they've said in the past. Trump dictates foreign policy based on who likes him and who doesn't like him. One day, he said that Canada and China making a deal is the best thing for Canada, and he likes that really much, that Canada is looking after themselves. Next week, when the Canadian Prime Minister said that, said some bad things about Trump, literally 7 days later, Trump said that, yeah, that deal with China is one of the worst ones. He would have never done that. That's a really stupid decision made by the Canadians. And also slapped some tariffs on Canada. That sort of an emotional fucking disaster shouldn't be a president. Dustpool, thanks for the follow. We live in a world based on the whims of maniacs, unsustainable, especially Trump cult. You mean Democrats don't give a shit about the American people? No, like, Trump doesn't give a fuck about the American people. What the hell are you talking about? The Democratic leaders don't give a fuck about it either. Like, the old guard of, like, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi. They don't give a fuck about like American people either. That's why I'm always saying that you need a clean slate. Your whole political system at the moment is fighting against the citizens of the United States. There's no fucking politician at the moment in power who cares about you. The British do this to India and Japanese does this to China, so does Netherlands Empire, so and so. Now that Karg Island is basically captured for the moment, this will be a huge strain due to the islands exporting over 90% of Iranian oil, which will be used as leverage since countries declined his. Defending the Canadian leadership isn't going to get you anywhere. Talk about don't give a... What? Trump be like, who made this shitty deal? You did, sir. But that's the issue with Trump. Like, Trump doesn't admit that he does shitty mistakes. Like, for example, this in 2025 October, when he bailed out the farmers for $12 billion. That's the second time he did the same fuck up. Second time. He started a trade war with China. That backfired. The farmers were screwed. Trump needed to bail them out again for $12 billion for an issue he caused. Did he apologize to the farmers? No. Did he admit he fucked up? No. Even though he did the same thing in 2018. He started a trade war with China. China retaliated. The farmers were fucked, and Trump bailed them out for $12 billion. So he bailed them out twice for $12 billion. That's the issue. He doesn't learn from his mistakes because, according to him, he doesn't make mistakes. What sort of a fucking leader is that? Trump will arrest you. Could be. I'm talking too many bad things about Trump. If you criticize the supreme leader, you deserve jail time. If you criticize the supreme leader, you're fake news. If you criticize the supreme leader, off to El Salvador you go. I think you focus too much to Trump. Treat Trump as a sign of American empire on decline. Once you do this, you realize that American action is in tune with empire on decline. But thanks for knowing the truth. Yeah. Finland is a blip on the map. That is true. But Finland is something that America hasn't been, which is 9th year in a row, the happiest country in the world. So Finland, number 1. Again, 9th year in a row, even though I live in Ireland now, but Finland, number 1. Again, 9 years in a row. Finland is the happiest country in the world, Cupcake. That is true. Does that mean anything? Fuck all. And every single Finnish person says the same thing. The first thing everybody says that morning when that news comes out and that study comes out, every single Finnish person is saying the same thing, like, how the fuck? Mike J, thanks for the follow. Why is Trump so greedy and mean? Because he only loves himself. He's a narcissist. He doesn't care about anybody else. That's one of the easiest layups. Why he's so greedy and mean? He wants everything for himself. Nancy, thanks for the follow. Trump destroying the world now, not just America. That is exactly why I'm speaking about US politics and why I'm speaking about Trump, because unlike a lot of Americans don't understand, but whatever that Mango Mussolini does and says, that has effects all around the world. So I would gladly enjoy if Trump would just stay in his lane and take care of the American situation. Maybe don't attack other countries around the world so you can reduce your military budget and take care of your citizens. Not increase the military budget, decrease the military budget. If you don't attack the world, especially the Middle East, they don't attack you. If you don't go to war because Israel asks you to, you have more money. And if you don't fund Israel, you have that money as well to use on your own citizens. Why don't you stay in your own lane? You're not in America. That is true. But why doesn't Trump stay in his own lane? Why is Trump funding a foreign country and now going to a war because of a foreign country? Wasn't MAGA supposed to be make America great again? Wasn't it supposed to be America first? Freedom of fucking speech, my guy. Thank you for letting us know what is going on. Well, there was 2 nuclear sites hit. The Epstein Wars. I like to hear what other countries have to say about America. Miss Senegal, unfortunately, you're in the minority. And I do like hope a lot of people around the world would like also understand that there are big countries in the world that whatever their governments do affect. So you're in the good minority that actually like cares and understands that America is a superpower, that if their leader is a complete diaper shitting asshole and talks shit all the time, that has effects globally. Yes, he promised no new wars. He lies all the time. Yes. That is exactly, he's a used car salesman. He's a former, like, quote-unquote businessman. But not a good track record, though, but quote-unquote businessman. And one of the things, if you want to be a successful businessman, you need to be able to lie confidently and never admit that you are lying, which is exactly what he's doing. A lousy businessman. That's why I used quotation marks, a businessman. I'm stuck here and we are all living under one roof trying to make it. We have to rely on good people to tell us the truth as Trump is trying to censor the media. Yeah, that's like, I don't understand why more people aren't like worried about that. There's a lot of Americans in the chat as well. Why aren't you worried about like your president trying to influence the FCC to blackmail broadcasting services that are actually reporting what is happening in the Iran war, but because it's different than what the White House is saying, they want to censor that. Why aren't you worried about that? That is exactly the communist China way of handling your news and broadcasting. That's the thing that MAGA has been always critical of the British media and also China, for example. And now you're accepting that that's okay in your soil. We are not worried about things that aren't real. What the fuck, Konopolis? Haven't you followed this? FCC, the head of FCC, because Trump asked him to, threaten the broadcasters. So like, how fucking stupid are you? And how brainwashed are you that you don't know this? That's just baffling that you're so confidently brainwashed. That's not real. You can stick your head in the sand as much as you want to. But that doesn't still change the reality. Why are you brainwashed? Nobody. I have to say, Konopolis, like, you're one of the biggest lost causes that I've ever seen when it comes to that cult. Folks, Iran war has 100% approval rating. Yes, then they forgot to mention the small print, which is among MAGA voters. I'm dumbfounded how he has any support at all. It's because of, like, people don't... Oh, okay. Let's piss off more MAGA people. The reason why Trump has still any, like, support is because the people in MAGA, who are MAGA, they're so fucking stupid that they put their whole personality in that cult. So they don't even follow anything, any news. They just follow what Fox News says because they know Fox News provides what Trump says. And whatever Trump says, they believe in. For example, when a lot of MAGA were rooting for the people of Iran, which have been doing for the last fucking decade, because they have been suppressed for 4 decades, 5 decades, since 1979, since Ayatollah became to power. Before, 6 months ago, nobody in the MAGA gave a shit about Iran. But because Mango Mussolini decided to make that a topic, all of a sudden all MAGA were like, oh, we're caring about the citizens of Iran. They have said nothing about that. On the contrary, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, even Trump himself have been against going to war with Iran their whole career. But now, because they changed their minds, the whole MAGA movement changed their minds because their leaders said that they don't have any independent thinking. That's how fucking idiots they are. And that's why Trump has support. Mango Mussolini was created in my chat in November last year. Mango Mussolini was created by... Why would I want to say Dr. Drunkenstein last November? Also, Dementia Donald would be okay. Dozy Donny is also quite good. Diaper Donald. Mango Mussolini. What's the update? All right, Goose. There's 2 updates. A nuclear site hit in Iran, and Iran retaliated on the Israel side and hit a nuclear site as well. Tangerine Caligula. Coco, thanks for the follow. Fanta Fascisti. Oh god, that's a good one. That's a good one. Fanta Fascists. I love Marmalade Menace. Okay, okay, chat. Make the best nickname for Trump, and I'll pin the comment. Fanta Fascist is really good in YouTube. Dragon James in YouTube. Fanta Fascist. Orange Diddler. Trump is a goat fucker. That's a good one, Ambrose. That's a really good one. Trump probably did fuck some goats. Delusional Donald. Mr. Pedo. Mrs. Epstein. Jim Crow Trump. Tangerine Tard. What are you, 13 years old? I'm sorry, Christine, but if you're a Trump supporter, you do know that Trump uses insult. Margarine... what was it? Trader Brown, having new scum. That's what Trump has to. Sleepy Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama, even though he wouldn't need to say that, but he wants to like emphasize that he has Hussein in his name. Christine, we're just playing with the same rules, you know. If you're mad about this, like, I don't know, go cry some orange tears or something like that. Are you still playing bass for Metallica? Nah, no, not anymore. Trump today just said he was glad a past public servant and veteran was dead, by the way. Yes, true. I can post what Trump said. Let's go to Truth Social. I will show you. What foreigners think about American politics is irrelevant. It's ironic that I've noticed for the past few months that a lot of Americans don't even know their own fucking politics. They don't even fucking know their constitutional rights. That was proven on the Minnesota incident. When the Minnesota riots were going, like, Americans didn't even know what their constitutional rights are. That's fucking concerning. This is what Trump posted on Truth Social. I'm not gonna paste that because that's gonna be banned by TikTok. So here's the Truth Social post. Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he said he can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. What a presidential thing to say. What a presidential thing to say. Mama, thanks for the follow. Orange tears. Sorry, the best nickname for Trump is American president. It shows how American empire in decline, plain and simple. So American president as nickname is good. It shows how far America has fallen. That's a brutal burn right there. You aren't happy when bad people die. I wouldn't do the first thing is to celebrate them. Like, I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, and I think he didn't deserve to be assassinated. I don't wish anybody like... Well, that was a natural cause, so that's okay, but... It's a weird thing to tweet from a president. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Trump just speaks what on his mind. He doesn't hide. He's not politically correct. Trump doesn't even know what he's talking about. Trump's like... Maybe he should think. I don't know if he can think. Because it's not normal for a president to take the cognitive test for 3 times. I don't think he can think. That's the issue. Because a lot of the things he says is completely fabricated and lies. But because he can't admit that he's lying, he can't admit that he was wrong, that's the issue there. And he repeats the fucking lie so many times. For example, the lie about the Chinese wind farms. That's one of the stupidest things because it's one of the easiest ones to fact check. China has the most wind energy of any country in the world. By far. Both wind farms in onshore and offshore. But because Trump is so much on the pocket of the oil lobbying industry, so he needs to go against the renewables because he's getting paid by the fossil fuel companies. Corruption. Yes, you're a Joe Biden supporter. No, I'm not. Joe Biden wasn't a good Democratic candidate. Neither was Kamala Harris. I'm not a Democrat. What the fuck are you talking about? Just because I don't just because I dislike Trump's policies doesn't make me a Democrat, you idiot. Lobbying is the #1 issue in the United States. Not immigrants, not affordability. Because affordability would also be fixed by putting all the fucking corrupt politicians away. And putting proper regulations in. The #1 issue in the United States is corruption and also the more polite version of corruption, which is lobbying. And it's legal corruption, but corruption nevertheless. That is the #1 issue in the United States. That and that corporations are considered people now. And it's wild that people aren't pushing back more. It is wild that people are just accepting that. Trump really did a Leroy Jenkins on US on Iran. I know the reference, and yeah, actually, Lauki, that is kind of true. I agree, Trump is corrupt to the core and everyone is in his administration. And not just like in Trump's admin, like if Nancy Pelosi had stickers on its jacket, like in NASCAR, like you know the sponsor stickers. Nancy Pelosi's jacket would be full of different company sponsor stickers. It's not just like Trump's admin. What do you think of James Dallarico? Seems to address corruption. I actually watched James Dallarico just before the... he was running for Texas and he won that primary on Democrats. So he won the primary to become the Democratic Party candidate. And I watched some like podcasts and videos of James Dallarico, and it kind of feels like he's a sensible Christian, which is super rare. Like that was the biggest shock to me. Was like what he was saying is kind of in line what I've been saying. Like when it comes to fighting against corruption, youth has the power. And one of his best lines were, he was talking to a bunch of young early adults, like in their 20s, that said that they don't care about politics. And James Dallarico said to them, you might not care about politics, but your teachers care about politics. The school owners care about politics. Your landlord care about politics. The people who produce and make your food and sell your food care about politics. Everybody else cares about politics. And if you're, what was the ending? It was something like, oh my god. But basically how he ended it was like, all the people who are responsible for the cost of living care about politics. So you are at the end of the day the receiver of it. Yeah, you might not fuck with politics, but politics will fuck with you. Exactly. So what's your perfect leader for the world? The truth is out there. Thanks for the follow. I might be a bit biased, but I think my wife would be one of the best leaders of the world. Because my wife understands the balance between a really healthy public sector and a really healthy private sector. So if I would need to choose one leader for the world, it would be my wife. Trump should win again. Give him a next chance. He deserves it. No, that's not a sweet answer. Like, that's... And I said that I might be biased, but like... she has some really, really good ideas. She's never going to politics, though. But she has some really good ideas. All of them graduated from Epstein school. A reporter getting hit in Lebanon. Must be missed cause. I don't see any kindergartens in the video. Cock. Like, me and my wife have had like some heated arguments in the past, because my wife's original political views were like really corporate right-wing, you know, that capitalism is the ultimate good and it can do no bad. And of course, I come from the other side. I was a bit more left-leaning back then, and now we've met in the middle. I think she's still a bit on the right side of like center, but we are both on the liberal side. But I'm just slightly on the left side of the axis, the middle axis. Who is winning the war? It's a bit of a stalemate at the moment. I think the citizens of Iran and the citizens of Israel are going to be the losers, if you're asking. Bye, Slimev, thanks for the follow. Sounds like a smart woman. Way smarter than me. I may know more about like global politics, but my wife knows a bit more about like a lot more than me about like things that are affecting our immediate surroundings. We have different interests. I have interest in like reading and searching global politics, and she has started to dabble a bit more. Like, we were heavily involved, like following those youth protests in last year, like the Gen Z protest in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Slovakia, Peru, Madagascar. We were following those quite, like, it was our own, like, just staying on top of everything and following how did they go. And now when the Nepalese had their elections just a while back and the Bangladesh had their elections, like, we are heavily following what's going on around the world. She's Irish, of course she's smarter. She's also Finnish. Understand balance, but we need to think in actual who can run the world that can get elected. Okay. If you asked me, no, I think we could just choose like one of the Finnish, Danish, or Swedish parliament members. They are quite sane. They are quite rooted. Not the right-wing ones, though. They are fucking... They fantasize of a small United States and fuck the economy every time. The hilarious thing, if you follow Finnish politics, every time a right-wing coalition goes to government, they just fuck it up. Luna, thanks for the follow. But I think, like, Alexander Stubb would be a really great president. Like, a leader of the world. Finnish president Alexander Stubb. I think Alexander Stubb would be a good one. Kallas from Estonia would be also another one. Do Finland fear Russia? We don't really fear them. Like, I wouldn't say fear. We are ready for them, though. Not me. I live in Ireland. I don't want to participate in a war. Same with Republicans when they are in office in America. Out of 11 recessions here in America, 10 started under Republican leadership. I vote board of scientists where they utilize tax funding for human advancement with American borders with elected humanitarian practices. God damn, that sounds like a solid plan. Stab is a celebrity here in Denmark. I've met Stab personally once. Although it was just like, they were having a campaign in Turku. And I was just walking past with my friends, but then we happened to see Alexander Stubb and a couple of others from the same party. We went there to talk shit. Alexander Stubb, the Finnish president, is such a fucking chill guy that you can talk shit to his face. And he's just gonna say that, I value your intake. And here's my opinion, and you might not like it, but it's my opinion. Like, you have the right for your opinion. And like, he was smiling the whole time, and like, one of my friends was just unloading the shit on him. And he was just like a really chill guy. And the Secret Service was like, didn't really give a fuck. Like, there was Stubb was like, no, don't do that. Hey, thanks for the subs, Jennifer. Little internet in Iran, control airspace. Why not release fires to inform Iranians? Is Trump a legal military target? Well, Trump technically is, yeah. He is a leader of a country in war. When did Ozzy claw out of the ground? That was all smoke and mirrors. I didn't really die, so I just wanted a bit of a break from Sharon. Like, we've been together for decades. And you've seen Sharon in American Idol. She can be a handful. So I just faked my death and went away for a while, and now I'm back. Is Mar-a-Lago a legal military target? I don't think Mar-a-Lago is a legal military target, though. Is your wife from Northern Ireland? No. We used to live in Northern Ireland. We used to live in Belfast. Seems like Ireland is on course with Britain to become a Muslim nation. And that is one of the funniest fake news. No, it's not. Like, I don't know what to say anymore, but no, it's not. Show wife. No. This is a fucking wild Robert Mueller just passed away and Trump fights. Good, I'm glad he's dead. And then MAGA people are gonna be super mad when Trump dies. Eventually Trump is gonna die, we all know that. Hopefully Father Time is working overtime. But eventually he's gonna pass away. Either by a blood clot caused by Big Macs or maybe something else. But there's going to be a lot of people in Twitter celebrating for that. And a lot of MAGA people are going to be mad about that. They don't see the irony. Morgan, thanks for the follow. Because USA doesn't have air domination. Pay-per-view. All right, let's see. 5 more updates. Israeli Air Force probing interception failure in Arad report. There's been a lot of interception failures in Israel. It's kind of... Maybe the Iron Dome isn't as, like, unpenetrable. Then we'll have to deal with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance doesn't have the charisma. After Trump passes away, MAGA will die. MAGA is Trump. Ryan, thanks for the follow. Jack as well. Where should America go for news? If you want to follow the Iran war, here you go. You don't need to go in one specific news outlet because this specific website I posted in TikTok has all the news outlets. Not discriminating anything. So it has Israeli news, it has Iranian news, it has Lebanese news, European news, Asian news, United States news. It has everything. All the social media feeds, anything that mentions Iran. I still don't know what group made this in the beginning of, at the start of the Iran war. But there was a group of like just people who were bored. And they decided to whip this out, which is like just gathering, probably made by AI, just to like suck all the information that are mentioning Iran in every single news outlet. Thank you. Where are you from? I'm from Finland. Do you know why Iran regime change after this will fail? Because USA just what? Them with attacking. The best kind of support for regime is to have an outsider as an enemy. Trump threatens to deploy ICE to airports amid Homeland Security shutdown. Yeah, I know. If I was the TSA agents, I would just not go to work. You would have a really, really fast solution from the government if every single TSA agent just stayed home. They're already working without pay, so might as well call in sick if they have sick leave. You don't seem to want to answer about Muslim in Ireland. There isn't a Muslim problem in Ireland. I live in Ireland. At least it would get the ICE agents off the streets. I mean, there's always two sides of a coin. The Gestapo would be moved out of the street and now to the airports itself. There's no social security net in America. It's never worth it unless you're already benefiting system. I doubt if his Irish golf clubs qualify as targets. No, don't bring the conflict here. Although Trump is already like planning to visit here in September, I already talked this in the last live stream that I'm gonna be streaming live there when I get arrested by the Secret Service for having signs of like Trump and Epstein kissing or something like that. Or just like, what up? Hey Trump, you're a fucking pedophile. Fuck you. We're gonna, like, later this year, before Trump visits Ireland, we're gonna have a poll in TikTok and in other social media of what sign will I have there. So if if you have any ideas, those would be handy. We will crowdfund and bail you out. My wife said the best thing, that we need to have a babysitter that day because my wife is coming as well, so we might both get arrested. What makes you think you'll be arrested for free speech? Well, it's Trump, so Trump doesn't really take too kindly. People, I might get a middle finger from Trump, like in the Ford factory last year. Remember that? When the Ford factory worker yelled pedo protector and Trump just flipped him off. I might get that. That would be fun. If you discuss war plans in Ireland, Ireland becomes accomplices. A bowl of mashed potatoes. Government, the House of Congress is literally full of pedophiles. Hey, did you hear that Pam Bondi is going to go in front of the House Oversight Committee in April 14th, if I remember correctly. So, under oath, recorded, transcribed. So Pam Bondi finally needs to answer some questions without attacking and like evading questions. Pam Bondi should go to jail. She's been such an incompetent piece of shit protecting pedophiles that, I mean, by affiliation, she should just go to jail as well. She could join Ghislaine Maxwell as well. If USA uses Shannon Airport for any refueling or aircraft station, it may be struck. No, she's next president of the United States. No. Fuck no. A massive scandal inside the Israeli army. Multiple anti-war soldiers are accused of leaking highly classified information to Iran. Report suggests major security breach with intelligence officials scrambling to contain the fallout. Is the internal front collapsing? I don't think it's collapsing. 27 billion actually broke just the cost of war. Biden did nothing with Epstein files. Well, they did have the trial for Ghislaine Maxwell. You can't say nothing. Oh yeah, Trump went to Mar-a-Lago with Marco Rubio, which usually means that they're going to attack a country. So they might attack Iran more, or they might attack Cuba this time. But Cuba, I don't know have you followed the Cuba situation, but the Cuba situation is getting interesting because there's 2 oil tankers from Russia about to arrive to Cuba on Monday. Hey Parmesan, thanks for dropping by. All the best to you as well. And there's 2 oil tankers arriving to Cuba from Russia on Monday. And it's going to be interesting to see if Trump is going to bend the knee for his best friend, Vladimir Putin again. One of his best friends, because Bibi is also a best friend. So it's going to be... This is going to answer us, what is this all about? Because if Trump bends the knee to Putin, of course, then we know what this is all about. 65% of the US Congress has taken APAC money. Yeah, APAC should be registered under, is it FARA? I think it's FARA. Right? Foreign Agents Registers Act. Oh, goddamn, I know too much. Ooh. I'm so glad I happened to find you today. I'm in the USA and I have been feeling depressed today. Oh, don't, like... I have had like depression when I was younger. Like if this brings joy to your day, or if this even slightly makes your day better, that feels like that's the least that I can do. Remember that you're not alone. There are people that are willing to help you, and also if you required, like, just DM me. Not even kidding. 7 times F-15 shot down, 4 air tankers shot down, 1 B-2 obliterated, and 1 time F-35 shot down. I'm a liberal living in a red state. That is a bad combination. Well, it depends on the red state. Like there are like moderate red states that a liberal could actually like. This might sound weird, but I'm really happy that New Mexico decided to do the universal childcare, that they're trying to push that through. So at some point, someone in New Mexico is at least a bit liberal. And also Colorado is not the worst red state to be in. Ooh, South Carolina, yeah. Left wing, right wing, still one bird that shits on everyone's head. I've never heard anyone jump to conclusion as readily as you. What are you talking about? Sorry for swearing. No worries. The worst is Mississippi. That was a surprise because I've heard many Americans say that Mississippi is the worst red state, and I always thought it's gonna be like Florida or Georgia or Alabama. No, possibly Alabama. Can you tell me your gender, please? Apoko, I think you have a bit of an issue there. Can you tell me your gender, please? Can you tell me your gender? Can you tell me your gender, please? Can you tell me your gender? Can you tell me your gender? Can you tell me your gender? Please, you answer me. Are you a woman or a man? That's obsessed, like... I can't help you, Apoko. Like, you're fucking obsessed with this. Louisiana actually is like, where's more used? He wants to, apparently, yeah. I'm married. I'm happily married. Have been for 10 years. This year is the 11th one, Apoko. I'm sorry. I'm happily married, so. I have 2 daughters as well. I'm a family guy. Oh no, somebody tweeted sad night in Israel, pray. So the war you ordered is now hitting your home state. And now you're on the receiving end. And now you're crying for wolf. Texas is the curse that is helping all this start, just like Florida. Family Guy is a show. Family Man. Because like Family Man is In Finland, when you're a family man, it's like, it's a specific type of dad, you know. So I instantly flipped that to family guy instead. Because I don't want to be... What is your agenda? I'm talking about news. That's my agenda. What the fuck, William? I'm in a blue dot in the red state of Arkansas. Simple question. I don't have an agenda. I've been reading global politics since I was late teenager, like 15, 16 years old. And even earlier from that, because I was like taught in the Finnish education system. So we were like taught really early on what happens around the world, all the power structures and so forth. So this is a hobby of mine, talking about politics and world politics. Well, Peter Griffin is actually pretty good. Peter Griffin is a red flag, though. Stay on topic. My guy is focused on boy parts. Florida sucks, but I'm staying put anyway. If we fall, it won't matter what state we live in. I'm a chick. Anyone want to scrap about it? I'm masculine as fuck and a bully. I mean, that's a weird flex, but okay. Bro's hair game is off the chart. 100%. I tried to, but get too frustrated and got it off. I'm the opposite. I'm just too lazy to cut my hair, and I just let it grow. And also because my family has the bald genes, so I have a lot of like relatives that are bald, like balding super early. So I'm kind of like hanging on to the hair as long as I have them, but it's actually quite thick, and I'm still growing new hair on my forehead, like hairline. So I'm not balding yet. The blue states in America, just like the EU, are going broke. Okay. You gotta have great hair. Like, it's surprising though, because I like to wash it every day. I don't like how my long hair feels when I haven't washed it. Tell the news. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So, Israel got hit. So, destruction of an entire neighborhood in the city of Arad from direct hit by a missile. 30 injured so far. And now it's over 100 injured. 4 buildings collapsed. So, people in Israel are feeling what the people in Gaza have been feeling for a long time now. I do feel bad for the civilians and citizens in Israel in different cities, because this is caused by Netanyahu and the IDF and the government of Israel. The civilians are innocent when it comes to this. The same thing as the civilians are innocent in Palestine. So what the people of Israel should do is revolt against their government, push Netanyahu out, and send Netanyahu to Europe to be tried for crimes against humanity and war crimes. The blood is on Netanyahu's hand. There's your news, William. Have you ever heard about the funky prepper in the... No, I haven't. When US president be talking about peace, you know people will get massacred. Yeah, exactly. Rain of missiles fire from Iran all around Israeli skies tonight. Interceptions no longer work. Israel is facing the most greatest threat to existence from Iranians. I mean, again, I want to emphasize, I feel bad for the civilians. And they can only blame their own government for this. Don't start a war if you can't finish it. This is what it looks like. It's got brutal. And The worst thing about like Israel is now, of course, attacking Lebanon as well, and the IDF isn't advancing in Lebanon. As a matter of fact, Hezbollah is pushing them back in Lebanon. So Israel is spreading their military forces thin. So there's going to be probably more civilian casualties. Just about every civilian in Israel has served in the IDF. I know. Literally, I had Hebrew colleagues here in Ireland, and both of them were ex-IDF officers. Well, the other one was a captain, the other one was a lieutenant. But literally the only people I've ever met, like Israelis here, they were both atheists. They said one of the most interesting thing, and this is still ringing to me. They both were former IDF soldiers. They said that, and I said that because we were talking about Christmas time and so forth, and they were actually celebrating Christmas like Christmas. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Do you do this like more often than Hanukkah? And they were like, no, we're atheists. And I was like, that's interesting. I've never met like a person from Israel who's an atheist. And they were like, well, we were serving for the IDF, so like every single person they know from IDF is an atheist. But I don't. I was like, back then I was like, okay, that's an interesting like thought process there. But then like I've seen no proof of this other than what they said. So I can't say that's true, but that's what they told me. D, thanks for the follow. I don't agree with Israel on many things, but they have rights to survive as a country. Israeli all have to do military unless there is medical reason, etc. Yashon, thanks for the follow as well. Also, I met one of them, like, we had, why do people who don't believe have to be labeled as an atheist? No, they call themselves as atheists, so you don't have to label yourself as an atheist. But I had 3 Hebrew colleagues, and those 2 were the ones that, well, talked the most. There was one quiet guy. And the one quiet guy was Ukrainian who fled when Soviet Union fell. Because when the Soviet Union fell, they actually started to hunt Jews in a lot of Soviet states. And Ukraine was one of them. So he fled to Israel in the early 90s. And he joined the army there, and he actually was Mossad. And he's one of the more, like, he never spoke anything until he was leaving the company. For the last 3 days, I had one of the most interesting 24 hours of the job, because I get to listen to his stories from the old Soviet times about the execution camps and like interrogating state enemies and so forth when he was like serving for the Soviet Union, the Red Army. Like, that was one of the most interesting things. Like, we were talking about hunting, and he said all of a sudden, like, he just left the table, and then of course he was sitting next to me, and I was talking like, you look like you hunt. Do you hunt? And he was like, no, I don't kill anything anymore, because back in the day in the 80s, when I used to be in the Soviet army, I killed thousands of people, and I can't even like cut meat anymore, because that brings back bad memories. And I was like, God damn, that was in the office when he said that, in the middle of like everybody. Of course, everybody else was working, but we were having the conversation, and he just dropped that bomb, and I didn't even know how to react to that. How the fuck do you react to that? He just, the worst thing about this is, we were joking about earlier, because he looked like he had that 1,000 yards there, and I was saying to my Finnish colleagues like, yeah, he's probably like seeing some action in some war, but then he chops that like he's killed about 1,000 people, and he didn't even blink, he didn't even stutter, and his English wasn't good, and then he just like, we were talking like this, and I was sitting like in front of him. Then he just swiveled 90 degrees and continued working like nothing happened. And I was just like there, okay, that's kind of weird. I served with the 4th Infantry Division in Iraq in 2003, and I'm the same. I hate that Trump is sending soldiers to go to die for a stupid war. Why doesn't he send Barron first? Exactly. That would instantly make that the war wouldn't happen if we sent Barron first. Our hearts are now in Arad and Dimona, praying together for the peace of the injured and their families. Hey, Naftali Bennett, maybe you don't want to like start preemptively attacking other countries. Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted, "You won't say anything bad about Muslims, will you? That all telling. What bad do you want me to say about Muslims?" Like, Ayatollah's regime is one of the worst ones that like is on the face of the earth. Has been since 1979. Like, there's nothing good about that Ayatollah's regime. And I've been rooting for the citizens of Israel to do a revolution for a long time. Not backed by foreign entities, but internally. So, what do you want me to say about Muslims? Did you really fight with Russia? I've been an advocate for Russia against Ukraine. Maybe you can correct me. I didn't fight with Russia. What good about Muslims? You're lumping a group of people together. What good about Americans? If we're talking about individual accolades. Like, I think the question is kind of interesting. Yeah, the vast, like, there's 1.7 something billion Muslims in the world. Majority of them are peaceful and loving. Live their way of living without, like, you wouldn't even notice them. Also, a lot of Muslim scholars were, like, credited to be the first universities. Although Harvard, I think, stole that credit, but some historians agree that it actually was originated by from Muslim countries. I'm not in favor of Islam. I'm not in favor in any religion. Can you look at what happened in Lebanon in the 70s? I know what happened in Lebanon in the 70s. Are we lumping all Muslims together? If we are we lumping all Christians together? Are we lumping all Jewish people together just because Netanyahu claims to be a Jewish person? Are we lumping every single Hindu because of the what Hindus have done? Like, that's such a fucking stupid statement. Intellectually, like, lazy. One of the first things I did when I heard of the attack on Iran is message friends in the Middle East to check them. I'm an atheist. Like, I have friends in Lebanon. I have a brother who was in Lebanon. Like, he is part of a military, though. Do you think EU will be brought into this war by the US later on? I don't think so. I hope EU leaders are smarter than this. I've met many people online, especially through gaming. Yeah, me also, exactly the same. Through gaming as well. You can't attach on one race or religion based on or a few people. Exactly, Elizabeth. I do agree with that. I don't like those blanket statements that are used against like a group of people just because of bad actors. Are you worked about Russia and China with what's going on with Iran? I'm worried because United States lifted the sanctions on Russia, and now Russia is getting more money for their war machine against Ukraine. China is kind of chilling at the moment. China would need some regime change as well, but that should come from the citizens as well. Free Hong Kong, free Taiwan, free Tibet. Now the leaders in the US government are so dumb as box of rocks. MAGA are the exception of the blanket statement rule. Good people are good people no matter where they are. Exactly. Exactly. I agree. From Spain. I don't know what that means. Should I say that? I'll Google that first. Before saying that Spanish. It means, no a la guerra, which means no to war. Okay. Iranians follow their religion, which is mostly peaceful. There's radicals in every society. Exactly. And that's the, like, I know, like, I assume everybody here in the chat understands why people are so worked up about Muslims and so worked up about Somalis and Africans and Cubans and Venezuelans and all of that stuff, because it's easier to manipulate people when you give them a target who is causing all the misery, even though that's fucking false. Hey Ireland, what up, Smithy? But that's been a tool of the populist for a long time. They give you a target. It's all the immigrants that are stealing your job. It's the immigrants that are getting all the houses. It's the immigrants why the affordability is so fucking bad. It's the immigrants because like they create this boogeyman, and simple-minded people don't even question that. Back in the 20s and 30s in Germany, it was the Jews. During the Soviet Union time, it was the capitalists. They do this all the time. Like, it doesn't matter, regardless what the political affiliation is. They create a target for simple-minded citizens that they can control. And that way they can get away with a lot of bullshit. And here's the weather. Here's Johnny with the weather. Divide and rule. Exactly. Unfortunately, like in Europe, for example, because of our parliamentary systems that a lot of countries have, it is harder for dividing people. But if you, for example, have a two-party system, it's already divided. What makes them simple-minded? Why don't they question it? Because they don't have the capacity to question it. You're from South Africa. No, I'm not. A duopoly, yeah. Who is this? Said hi. What up, Jackson? The reason why I call them simple-minded is because they believe that the leaders of your country wouldn't lie to you, and they don't question anything. Perfect sheeple. They are the perfect subjects. They don't question anything. They believe that every single leader is thinking of your best, want to make your life better. They wouldn't lie to you. They are the most easiest to manipulate. Goldfish. People who don't have a memory longer than a week. Yup, we are so divided in the United States that we're fighting each other. Exactly. And when you're fighting each other, whoever is in the government, whether it's the Biden administration, whether it's the Trump administration, or whether it's Obama, they get away with a lot of shady shit, like Obama's drone strikes on US citizens, or Obama, when he put those immigrant children to those cages. Not many people remember that, but he did that. Or when Trump pulled out from the nuclear agreement with Iran, enabling what's going on now. Nobody remembers any of those. What really makes no sense is that they think the other side does nothing but lie. I recognized the Finnish accent right away before I even clicked to watch the live stream. Sometimes I hear a hint of Ireland though. I've been here in Ireland for 4 years now. I think it's 4 years, yeah. Hearing the news here first. So Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted regarding the bombing of Israel. This is a very difficult evening in the campaign for our future. Just a short while ago, I spoke with Mayor of Arad, Yair Mayam, and asked him to convey on behalf of all Israeli citizens our prayers for the peace of the injured. I have instructed the Director General of my office to provide all the necessary assistance together with all governmental ministries. I strengthened the emergency and rescue forces operating in the field right now, and I call on everyone to heed the instructions of the Home Front Command. We are determined to continue to strike our enemies on all fronts. So instead of learning from this, Benjamin Netanyahu does the same thing as Trump do, which is attack, attack, attack. So, and if you attack Iran, Iran is going to retaliate. Attack Iran, Iran is going to retaliate. Attack Iran. Rinse and repeat. There is going to be a limit how many civilian casualties is going to be too much. There are all of these civilian casualties in Israel are Netanyahu's. Netanyahu has blood in his hand. And also Trump, though. Remember, Obama sent 150 billion in cash in the middle of the night, right? Yeah. I wish USA had a 3-party system. 2-party system is no longer working. Yeah, I wish that as well, because I want the best for the citizens of the United States. There are so many people in my chat as well, like throughout the streams that I've had, that have said that their political views would align with a candidate, but because the parties dictate what they vote and how they vote. So it doesn't matter if there's a smart candidate inside the Democratic Party or a Republican Party, because the party decides what they vote for. So they don't have that freedom of like representing the people who voted them. So if there was like a third party as well, there would be a more nuanced as well. But that, yeah, Stevie G, that was the stolen money from Iran that was sent them. But that is still true that Obama did send them. But yeah, it was the Iranian stolen money. What do you think of the cluster bombs being used that were banned in 1986? Yeah, that's a war crime. Jackson, do we want to be consistent though? Because Israel used cluster bombs in Gaza as well. And used white phosphorus in Lebanon and in Gaza, which are also war crimes. So if we want to be consistent, I'm all for that. Throw the Iranian leadership to Hague, and also throw Netanyahu in Hague, and trial them for war crimes and crimes against humanity. I'm all for that. Let's be consistent though. You can't cry that, oh my God, somebody else is doing war crimes and you're doing war crimes as well. In USA, the indoctrination starts very young. Little things like saying the Pledge of Allegiance in school and heading constantly that this is the richest country in the world. Not after 86. Israel has committed war crimes. They have used white phosphorus and they have used cluster ammo as well, Jackson. Don't be a sheeple. You have internet in your grasp. You can find out these things. Why do Iranian men never stand up to their oppression? That's a good question, though. Are they against it, though? There's a lot of them, because it's a big country. It has, what, 70-something million people there. That's why I don't take any sides, because they're all Antichrist. Nah. They're just normal humans who are evil. Who are you? Were you there? Where? Oh my God, oh yeah, I remember. I have to be present there. Okay, Jackson. Were you there when Iran used cluster bombs on Israel? Were you in Israel? Did you see them with your own eyes? That's one of the stupidest fucking... Again. Oh my God. It's like we have this thing called fucking... We have unlimited amount of information available. I'll post this again to both chats. If you want to follow up news that aren't like... If you want to scan through all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of news... You were in Tehran 1984, but Israel used cluster bombs last year, and also white phosphorus last year and this year. So 1984 Tehran doesn't really matter that much. Jody, thanks for the follow. 19-year-old wrestler just got hung because he spoke out. I know. I reported that yesterday. No, 2 days ago. So big germ, that's actually kind of slow because we already talked about that 2 days ago. And I said that that's, again, proof of the horrible regime that it is in Iran. Israel is protected at the UN, you know by who? Israel, and you know who are not the members of World Court. You can question my sources all you want. Jackson learned the difference between cluster bombs and multi-head missiles. Some countries can attack other countries, no recourse. They have own rules. I just hope that Netanyahu comes to Ireland at some point so we can arrest him for crimes against humanity and war crimes that he's committed. You choose your side already. I can't be on the side of war criminals. You avoid talking about Putin. Oh my God. I already said that one of the worst things that came out of this war is USA lifting sanctions, so Russia will get more money for their war machine to fight against Ukraine. Putin is a fucking war criminal, horrible human being, and should be executed in the fucking main square of Kiev. Just because I'm not talking about Putin all the time, because Iran war is happening at the moment. Okay, they use cluster bombs, and why do they have to follow rules that their enemies don't? I spent 14 years as a Marine, and you've learned nothing in the Marines, other than to obey and just believe one source. Ah, Jack, come on. Do you think dollar will collapse? You want to know how dollar would collapse? If all the oil sales would be shifted from the dollar away. I don't understand why the world doesn't use that as leverage against the United States. Imagine what happens. Like, EU contacts China and Russia, and let's say all the countries in Africa and Middle East, and they would be like, let's start doing business in another currency. That would crash the dollar instantly. 14 years of being a useful idiot. Do you know who start the war? Yeah, United States. With the Aussie look, lol. Everything is already twice the price here in the United States. Wasn't that one of Iran's demands? Yes, it was. Iran is negotiating an end to the blockade of Strait of Hormuz by allowing countries to pass if they shift from the US dollars to Chinese yen for oil trades. This would cost the US $3 trillion. If America collapses, so does the world. Maybe the world needs a bit of a reset, though. If we're such a fucking flimsy place to be. Yeah, let's go back to petro to gold. Yeah, we will meet the same fate as Libya. That's a thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like Iraq was doing the same thing, trying to get away from petrodollar. They got attacked by phony reasonings by the U.S. government. They said that they went there for weapons of mass destruction, which wasn't true. They went there to steal their gold and oil, and to prevent them from changing from the petrodollar to something else. Libya did the same thing. Syria did the same thing. Venezuela did the same thing. Before last year's special operation in Venezuela, they were doing business in selling oil with something else than dollar. Whoa, surprised they got attacked because that's the MO, literally. We can barely afford to work, pay for childcare, and feed our families, let alone put gas in our car. Exactly. Like, maybe this is a bit of a hot take. I have nothing against like a balanced private and public sector, but maybe this ultimate version of capitalism that the United States has had for a long time, maybe it's not the best system. Maybe there needs to be something next to it. Maybe there needs to be a bit more regulations when it comes to like corporate greed. I know this might sound a bit, I don't know, too European, but maybe there should be a bit more power on the workers, on the citizens. Do you work for the news sites or just flapping your upper lip? Jackson, everything I said is accurate. If you don't like it, that's your, like, you must, you were a Marine for 14 years. I understand that you're completely brainwashed by the system. Although I have Marine friends as well, that they are super anti what Trump is doing at the moment, and has been anti ever since the Iraq war. So it doesn't apply to every single Marine, though. Maybe the Europeans should mind their own. Exactly. See, G Towers already got butthurt when I said that maybe there should be another system. The last raise I got from my job was a damn quarter. I'm always amazed at people who don't like what they are watching but refuse to scroll away. I mean, they just need to, like, it's my charisma, you know, it's my hair. It's something about me that they just have to be here. Look at the coalition for Hormuz. There's no ships going there at the moment. Word Police America doesn't mind its business ever. Hundreds of bases, non-stop aggression, by the way. Imagine how good America could be if you didn't attack the world, mainly the Middle East, and you would lower your military spending by half. And you use that money that you would otherwise need to use for your military because you're making enemies all the time to make people's lives better in the United States. Imagine what you could do. You're full of crap too. Oh, Jackson, go ahead. Go ahead. United States went to Iraq on a false premise. United States said that there was weapons of mass destruction. There were none. Iraq was doing business other than petrodollar. United States stole their gold, stole their oil. Fuck off. They did the same in Libya. Libya was literally creating a unified African currency. And then they got a bit of freedom and democracy. Again, related to walking away from petrodollar. Syria did the same. Venezuela did the same. If you can't understand that, I can help you. Just like they lied about Vietnam Gulf of Tonkin. Exactly. Okay, Iraq was also because Israel pushed false intel. That is true. Yeah. We need healthcare in the USA. Also help for homeless. The priority change has to happen, but the rich will kill anybody to keep propping up their... yeah. I mean, US is backing the Gulf monarchies. They are arguably worse than Iran. Our government leaders' pockets are full of APAC money. As an American, I'm embarrassed and sorry. You don't have to be sorry. Like, you just need to keep your leaders in check. I did see something about a coalition to open up the strait earlier. Supposed to be 7 countries, I think. Yeah, like literally at the beginning of the stream, somebody said that 20 countries were already going there. Everybody has said that they are willing to do diplomacy, but like they're not sending anyone there. Like the countries that were mentioned were Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Canada, and South Korea. They express their readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts for safe passage and condemning Iran's actions. This is diplomatic and preparatory language, not a commitment to send ships. And that's like a lot of people online has also misinterpreted that they are going to send ships. They are not like promising to send ships. I'm reading comments while I'm reading news. Sorry about that. Because I like to have a conversation with you guys as well. Majority of the country committed to open the strait, but not committing to ships or troops. Yes. Yeah, I remember when freedom warriors jumped into school in Iraq, terrorized the shit out of us to have a laugh. Humans are pretty good at making it work. The species will survive. All hail the power of the atomic meteors and the bright flash that save us from tomorrow pain. I would like to move to Europe and mind my own business. Our midterm elections are coming up soon, but the Republicans want to mess with the election. I don't know if you guys were here when I did the doomsday prediction, and I hope I'm wrong. And this is one of those predictions where everybody roots that I'm wrong. But I'm gonna say that if Democrats win the midterms, Trump is gonna go full dictator. Big term thing. I mean, we can disagree and agree. Like this is at the end of the day, you guys in the chat and we have more in common, even if we disagree or agree, than us and the leaders of our countries, whether it's the leadership in Ireland or the leadership in the United States or UK or Australia or Canada, wherever you live. Like you and me have more in common than you and the leader of your country. We should be instead having these conversations, finding common ground, having a conversation. How can we compromise and come to a middle solution? Because we have more to lose and we have more to win. The government doesn't give a fuck about us. Like, even though I like to say that the European governments are better than a lot of other governments around the world, but they still don't give a fuck about us. Yeah, the midterms have me concerned. Trump did promise that if he won the elections, he would not have to vote again. So that language plus thing, yeah. This is why I'm moving back to Netherlands in large part. Project 2035. Save Act will not pass, not enough votes. In your opinion, who is winning the war and why? I don't think the war is going to have a winner. I think it's going to be the same as Iraq. Somebody's going to declare that they won and then just fuck off, even though they didn't win. But I think the midterms, if the Democrats win, Trump is just going to say, okay, that's rigged. And because he's been already planning this, he's been already planting this seed in MAGA's head that Democrats are going to steal elections. They have stolen elections in the past, even though they haven't. Election fraud is 0.0007% of the last like few decades of all the ballots, all the mail-in ballots, all the votes. So elections aren't stolen and elections aren't frauded in the United States. But they have already planned that. So if Democrats win in the midterms, Trump is going to declare that it's rigged and that result doesn't count, and he's going to take power. That is what's going to happen. Why do you think you're American? I don't think I'm an American. But yeah, I'm gonna be gone early May. Good thing I never renounced my Netherlands citizenship view. Oh, that's gonna be that's a cause for a celebration, getting back to Netherlands. I don't think he's gonna declare that it's rigged because the atmosphere ain't set right. he's definitely gonna declare it even before, if it even has a hint of looking like that they're gonna lose. I'm gonna say that 2 weeks he will, like, no, a month before, he will start hammering again that Dems are gonna cheat, rile up his troops, rile up his cult. 3 weeks in, he's gonna ramp up that even more, picking individual candidates that they're gonna cheat, so forth. Then 2 weeks in, he's gonna again ramp it up, and 1 week before, he's gonna ramp it up. And when the day comes, and if the Dems win, it's gonna be worse than January 6th. Oh yeah, revival natural. That reminds me, they recently reduced the fee to renounce US citizenship. Yeah, I also read that. If the Democrats ever take over America again, America has done so. No. I don't think so. Will gas being $10 a gallon by then matter to the cult? No, they don't care. I already saw a lot of people online like saying that they're willing to pay more gas for us to win against Iran. That was coming from a Makkah cult. There's a specific Facebook group that there's a lot of Makkah people. Like, I think it's like 107,000 people in that. Hello, Killy, thanks for the follow. Should probably have a second citizenship first. It's tough to get one with nothing to begin with. Did you see that the Irish Prime Minister said to Trump that there should be an easier path for US citizens and Irish citizens to like move to United States and to Ireland? That would be the end of United States. There would be a lot of immigrants all of a sudden in Ireland, which I would welcome. I think, like, yeah, welcome. Ireland has room. Yeah, exactly. Like, there would be so many people moving to Ireland. At the moment, like, it's super hard to get that permit to come to Ireland. Who is paying your salary, China, Russia, or Iran? None of them. It's funny that you would say that. Like, I'm against the Chinese government, I'm against Russian government, and I'm against the Iranian regime. Why would they fucking pay me? I'm talking shit about them daily. You're talking about, like, Russia, war criminals. Iran's regimes, war criminals. China, well, a lot of humanitarian law breaking the law, and also crimes against humanity with the re-education camps for the Uyghur Muslims. So why would I be paid by those? They would never give me money. They would probably throw me in jail in all of those places. But the current president of the United States bombed a girls' school, double-tapped it with a Tomahawk missile. That's a war crime. Hey, Guardian Girl, thanks for the hand heart. That's a war crime. So the president of the United States is a war criminal. And of course, Bibi Netanyahu is war criminal as well. Multiple crimes against humanity. I would be instantly, like, caught by Mossad, like, if I go near Israel. His followers are still trying to say that the Finns in the alignment of the attack, it wasn't him. What? The War Crime Club. Exactly, like... Trump is a war criminal. Also Hexet. Trump is the commander-in-chief of the army during war. And Hexet is the Secretary of Defense, or War, if you want to. Whatever Jägermeister wants to say. So they are responsible for that misinformation, like misintel that they had about the whereabouts of the target. And they hit the school twice. That is a war crime. Trump is a war criminal. If you do a war crime, you're a war criminal. Betsy, thank you for the follow. I know that must be hard to hear, but Obama was a war criminal. Also, George W. Bush is a war criminal. How can a draft dodger be allowed to send others in harm's way? That's a good question. I'll pin that comment. Go ahead, Mugga. Answer that one. How can a draft dodger be allowed to send others in harm's way? I wonder if Bush can already leave the country. Sounds like a dude who likes chatting with people about commonly held ideals. Come off it, Bruce. US the Great Satan is burning. God. Gotta go to talk to smart people now. Willie's crazy lady. So what was Trump supposed to do? Wait for an Iranian nuke to be in the air before we act? There was no nukes, Big Germ. There was no nukes. There was no nuclear program either because Operation Midnight Hammer obliterated it and completely destroyed the nuclear capabilities. That was Trump's assessment of it. And that was also Tulsi Gabbard and the intelligence agency's assessment of it. Also, the UN watchdog said that they didn't have a nuclear program. They didn't have any nukes. Did you know that Nostradamus predicted that man with the blue turban is going to launch a nuke? I'm thinking that it means that man with the blue flag, I think Netanyahu. Our country is on fire and I feel like no one is listening. The Democrats are too weak to stand up. Yeah, and the youth portion of the Democrats are like coming up too slowly because the old guard is still like gatekeeping the power of the Democratic Party. There's a lot of good young Democrats. That's how empires fall, not holding their governments accountable. Just reality-based world news here. Probably because the rest of the actual civil society understands that what he is saying is right. Israel will definitely launch if they don't get their greater Israel. How can you lead a military as a commander-in-chief and be a draft dodger? Exactly. I didn't get an answer, though. I'm starting to think Trump and Bibi gonna have a falling out. Pretty hard to rebuild a nuclear program in 6 months. But they didn't have a nuclear program. That was the intelligence agency's assessment. So when Trump and Bibi said that they attacked Iran because they can't have nukes, that was completely lie. That was their Iraq lie. That was their weapons of mass destruction. Dotherman, thanks for the follow. The Democratic Party in the USA would be considered right-leaning in most countries. Yeah, especially in Europe. Like, it's easy to say they're left-wing because you only have two parties in the United States and you completely lack of political nuance. So it's easy to say that that side is left and that side is right. Yeah, you only have two fucking sides. It would be kind of dumb to say that the radical right-wingers, because you're also on the radical right. So what the fuck? Iraq had WMDs. No, they didn't. You believe you state media, don't you? No. We don't have state media. And I don't actually follow RTE. RTE is the Ireland's like broadcasting service. I don't follow RTE. Dotherman, thanks for the follow. Saddam was hanged by the neck. That is true. Saddam was hanged. But they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. We know that as fact now. If you haven't updated your information data, man, I wouldn't start this conversation. It is a known fact now that Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction. You might want to educate yourself, but that is a known fact. US Congress makes millions they're bought and paid for not representatives. Saddam was put on power by George W. Bush when he led CIA. Seems countries with nukes are really the countries most dangerous to countries without. The US government has even admitted to the fact. That is true. The best protection against regime change is actually nukes. So yes, 2 days ago, somebody asked me, would I want Iran or the United States to have a nuke? Which is kind of a silly question, because it's a bit more nuanced answer. But at the moment, well, United States have used a nuke twice. Iran has used a nuke 0 times. United States have attacked more countries, way more countries than Iran for the past, I don't know, pick a number of decades you want to. I have a friend in Finland that considers himself right-leaning. I'm a way left of the left in the USA. We talk politics on a regular basis and agree on basically everything. Iran hasn't attacked any countries. Exactly. That was kind of the joke there. If you want to get depressed, then search who sold the chemical weapons to them. I wish we would stop attacking other countries. We need all the money that we spend on wars for us. Dyslexic fingers, exactly. Also, if you don't attack sovereign countries all the fucking time, you wouldn't make enemies. Again, like I stated this already a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. What do you think the new generation in Iran is gonna shout after this conflict, after this war with United States and Israel? When their parents are killed, their friends are killed, their infrastructure is destroyed, their schools are destroyed. Like, they see death and destruction everywhere. Do you think that they're gonna praise United States and Israel for this? No. They're just gonna yell death to America still. Death to Israel. This is how you create generational hate towards a country. Is fucking bomb them. In my opinion, next week we will be in the heart of the war. Someone get checkmate for sure. Yeah. The fact that you haven't been arrested for your podcast is proof. Government approves of you. I mean, that would be kind of petty of the Irish government, that if they would like scan my account. And to be fair, I am not saying anything that controversial though. PP is a war criminal, Trump is a war criminal, Putin is a war criminal. Xi Jinping is like on the borderline of being a war criminal. Dataman, you do know that Saddam wasn't hanged for via WMDs. He was hanged for crimes against humanity, especially related to the Dushail massacre. Oh my fucking god. That... Are you just a fucking idiot? Who the fuck are you? No, you're just a Trump dick rider. Okay. crimes against humanity. You're not that smart, are you? Like, I presume you're an American, right? United States went to Iraq because Saddam was starting to diminish the power of petrol oil and doing business in different currencies for oil. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. Iraq didn't have WMDs. They went there because they were diminishing the power of the dollar in oil trade. They stole Iraqis' gold, they stole their oil, and fucked off. Iraq didn't... United States government dataman has said that Iraq didn't have WMDs. You thick idiot. World Cup and the 4th of July celebration this summer are going to be a security nightmare. That's why Kristi Noem did that contract with the drone companies, because I don't know how many of you Americans remember, but back in last December, Kristi Noem actually dropped a bit of a harsh reality check to any American that there's going to be mass surveillance next summer. Be happy about that. Jen, thanks for the follow. I think Dataman might be like an idea for a Mossad agent. Let's have a check. Dataman, can you say that? Dataman, can you say that Netanyahu is a war criminal and has committed crimes against humanity and killed 30,000 plus women and children? Netanyahu is responsible for the genocide happening in Gaza. Go ahead. No one cares or likes Netanyahu. Dataman probably does, because he's getting a paycheck from them. But potentially. Oh, there you go. Get the fuck out. There we go. Now we know that that was Israeli stooge. Yes, they're gathering info on people's location now in the US. Yes, and they're gonna do like they're gonna do the drone surveillance next summer during the World Cup. Top 5 worst world leaders. Okay. Who's Robert Mueller? He's the ex-FBI director. Top 5 worst leaders. Well, they killed Ayatollah, so he can't be in that list anymore. I was like, in no order. Are we talking about currently? Hey, South Hunter, are we talking about currently? I'll pin that comment there. World Cup should be boycotted. Yeah. All right, so top 5 worst leaders currently. If we do all time, there's too many. That is true. Currently, in no particular order. There has to be a few names. Vladimir Putin, first of all. And then there needs to be Benjamin Netanyahu, of course. And I would put Viktor Orban there, but they're going to have the election soon, and Viktor Orban is going to be away. Lukashenko is a fucking puppet, so he doesn't really do anything. He's a useful puppet though, but Lukashenko is like harmless because he doesn't have any power. So Putin is the one controlling Belarus and has been for the past 3 years. Orban would normally be there. Trump, yeah, Trump, well, Netanyahu, Putin, and Trump. I think we have to put Xi Jinping there as well. Who's the fifth one? Because Orban is going to be away like in a few weeks. He's not going to be there anymore. Alexander Lukashenko is he doesn't really do anything because Putin controls Belarus and Alexander Lukashenko is just like, you know, the marionette there. I was thinking about Kim Jong-un, but he hasn't really done anything in a while. He's a bad leader, don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna like trying to think like globally. Iran is a multi-layer architecture of power. The leader is spokesman is a different. Oh, Milei. Saudi prince would be again. Should we put Milei there? He already fucked up things so badly that he needed to take a 40 billion loan from the United States. Oh, Modi. Yeah. This is just me, but if the war is over, why the hell are the Marines on their way to the islands? So much element. Cap for life. I have a better question. If the war is already over and the United States won, why does the military need 200 billion from Pentagon? Are you allowed to defend yourself in Ireland? If so, why shouldn't Israel be allowed to defend themselves? Is it defending themselves, Big Germ, if they attack Iran without provocation or any, like, if Iran didn't attack them? You can't claim that you're defending yourself by attacking somebody who's not even attacking you. You're throwing missiles because somebody said words for you. That wouldn't hold in court when we're talking about self-defense. If somebody says a bad thing to you and you start shooting at them, that doesn't hold. The war isn't over. But Trump said that the war is over. Will Americans ever unite and start a revolution? In my opinion, it's long overdue. I do think Ed as well. And Americans, if you start a revolution, give me a heads up. I'll fly there as well and join you. Just throw me a DM or something like that when the shit is about to hit the fan. So I'll bring Coco. I can even take a rowboat. Lauki, you can take a boat first to Ireland. You can scoop me and we can row together across the Atlantic to the United States. Many people in our government are profiting of this war. They have stocks in... I mean, we do know that the military-industrial complex is a real thing, right? We do know that the military-industrial complex is a real thing. And that requires United States starting new conflicts all the time. Because they need to all the time spend money on weaponry, ammunition, military infrastructure, military vehicles, so forth. It's a never-ending revolving door. Ireland has plenty of problems you could worry about. Yeah, majority of them are caused by the government. And there's a bit of time before the elections, though. But our issues are like minor. We don't have any big issues here. You guys roll like Jari Saari. Oh, goddamn. Oil flows cheap when it be diluted with blood. The craziest part of all, it's watching NATO crumble in real time. It's just Trump again, like, threatening. It's one of his tactics. Israel never started anything, they just finished. Okay, now you're trolling, Big Germ. Now you're trolling. Now you're just trolling. Ireland are becoming Muslim. No, they're not. You're describing the acts of evil. That is true, Sam. That is true. Israel and Iran are the two sides of the same coin. I mean, Elon Musk is heavily impacting the algorithm in X at the moment, like propping Israeli propaganda. You know what I'm talking about. An organization that I belong to that does all the protest organizers is considering a terrorist group. Oh yeah, Antifa. I've been a proud anti-fascist for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that. In my opinion, fighting against fascism is a really good thing. Every single soldier in the Second World War was anti-fascist. I know that Trump declared it to be like Antifa itself, terrorist organization. I'm still like, I've never been in an Antifa rally or anything, but I've been anti-fascist for a long time. Israel is in Lebanon because they need Lebensraum. Which is the same thing as Jeremy said. Israel in Lebanon because they want to expand their territory. Finds the Albert Pike later about the World War III. Israeli government is becoming Muslim. MAGA should do something about the Israeli government. They need some democracy there. Oh shit, they found oil in Israel. Well, time to back up, boys, and go bring them some freedom. Time to bring them some freedom. There's so many Israeli videos now. And people are freaking out about the fucking ballistic missiles. Drone footage show the Iranian missile crater in Arad sitting right between the apartment buildings. Over 50 wounded, a 5-year-old girl in critical condition. This is Israel now. No, not Israel, but Arad. There we go. Do-do-do. Israeli commander at Arad missile strike. Unfortunately, small children evacuated in serious condition.
Principally or perhaps entirely ballistic missiles, which are the fastest by far and the most dangerous. And now what we're seeing in addition to those intercepts is we're seeing fragments falling to the ground. It's like a... Yeah.
Not to offend anyone, but like, they kind of deserve that. If you start a war. How detailed do you need to have it? Ultra-nationalist, far-right, racism, discrimination towards minorities, those are all considered to be forms of fascism. Also, controlling information. White supremacy is also a form of fascism as well. But in short, like, an ultra-nationalist far-right movement. How deeply do you want to go? I remember some politicians in Italy said that fascism is anti-democracy, which is kind of true because they don't want elections. They are really anti-elections as well. You're a self-hating white person. I don't categorize myself based on my race. Haven't you already understood that? I don't care where you come from, what the color of your skin is, what's your sexual orientation, what's your gender. I don't really give a fuck. I treat every single person the same way. That should be the norm. That's what I've taught my kids as well, which is really beautiful to see, that they don't discriminate anyone based on where they come from, what is the color of their skin, and they treat everybody the same. Like, is Iran now threatening Europe? No, it's not. Iran is threatening only Israel at the moment, and also the other Gulf countries. Not me. Discrimination is necessary. Well, then you're a horrible person, though. And both of my girls, my daughters, like, they've only just seen, this is the bit of a like weird thing, because I have never pushed like my ideas to them. They just see how I treat people, how I have conversation, how I'm curious about like talking to people I don't know, and like meeting new neighbors and so forth, and being polite to people and treating everybody the same. And they've just seen that. My daughter 2 weeks ago, some of you might have like remember this, but 2 weeks ago, I ended the stream early because I was going to a punk concert with my older daughter. This was her idea. And we went to the punk concert, and I was actually kind of happy because I saw her friends and everybody, and there was a lot of like anti-capitalist, anti-fascism, free Palestine stickers and flags and so forth. So I felt kind of like proud and happy at the same time. I don't discriminate. I'm British. Where are you from, my European brother? I'm from Finland originally, but I live on the other side of the small pond between us, so I live in Ireland at the moment. Just like I'm not religious, but I let my children learn about religion themselves. Exactly. Both of my daughters had the same thing. Like, I'm an atheist, but I let them experiment and like decide themselves if they want to pursue the religious path or not. I didn't force them to become atheists. My older one became an atheist, I think, like a few years back, when she started reading a bit more about the religious scriptures of like Christianity and other religions, and like did the same kind of a conclusion that I did when I was a bit younger than her. I was like 7 or 8 years old when I left Christianity, because I found out that it's a complete fabrication of reality and it's just a fucking storybook. But my younger daughter is still a Catholic Christian, and that's fine. That's completely okay. Finish, so you're a good racing driver and moved to Ireland of luck. Can I ask you in the Republic, or I live in the Republic at the moment, but I used to live in Northern Ireland. So, and Matthew, I have to say that I still think Belfast is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And it's just like, of course, as a person who lived in Belfast, I've studied the history of that specific city, and also I've studied like Troubles quite thoroughly. But it is a really, really important part of the British Isles history, and also it's a beautiful city, and the people there are really nice. Sorry, you're a godless person. You don't need to be sorry that I'm a godless person, because I don't believe in a god. You can't like declare moral superiority because you believe in a fictitious like being. You're a godless person almost the same amount as me. except you believe one God more than me. Think about that picture. I don't think you believe in Allah. I don't think you believe in Shiva. You don't believe in Odin. You don't believe in every single other god except one. So you're a 99.99% atheist on every other religion except one. Think about that before you claim moral superiority. I worship the sun. Oh, the sun is fucking awesome. Shinto religion is one of the best ones that believe the earth is the god. Like, I can't emphasize how many different religious scriptures I've studied religion when I was younger because I wanted to learn if anybody was right. So Shinto is one of the more interesting ones because they believe the ground and the earth is the god, and that's why you need to keep good care of the ground. The Christian God today is not the same Christian God 200 years ago. There is an African who worship alligators. Are they wrong? I mean, I have to say, Miss Senna girl, I like that more than the Christian God. Do you have white guilt? No. I'm godless heathen and better for it. I have read history though, so I know that what white people have done. Also, I know what Genghis Khan did. Also, I know what the Vikings did. And coming from the north, if you don't understand your history and if you don't learn from your history, you're bound to repeat the history. If you call that guilt, it's on you. Saying that what we've done in the past is guilt would be kind of low IQ though. For example, the British imperialism, just as an example. Do you think some people just don't have either the intelligence or a mindset to be an atheist? Nah, I don't think it's that. I think it's because, like, honestly, there are a lot of people who are afraid of not knowing. So they require something to believe in. And that's completely fine. That is completely fine. I have nothing against that. I understand that. It's the same thing that I understand why terrorist organizations, for example, how they are created, or paramilitary groups. Let's talk about the Troubles, for example. I understand why IRA became. I understand how it was born. And if you don't study those things, then you're never going to learn from them. Oh no, I'm not part of a group. I don't have a book. I just don't mess with people and I believe in karma. Hey, Big Germ, you kind of missed my point. I was saying that you believe one God more than me, so you're actually almost as atheist as I am. You didn't have a comment for that. Patrick, thanks for the follow. Shelly as well. Do you think some people just leave the past in the past, learn from it and move on? But the issue, J-Rock, is like if we don't learn from it. Let's, case in point, the President of the United States repeating the same mistakes that the past presidents are doing. The issue is if we don't learn from the past. And at the moment, more and more people are having memories of a goldfish. They don't remember what happened more than a week ago. That is even a stretch. Do you think Americans that don't travel maybe limit their thinking, less exposure to other cultures? I think that could be a part of it. A lot of my American friends, they have never left America, which is... I understand also why, because it's a big country. Like, America is huge. So you don't really need to go to another country per se. You can just travel across America and you see a lot of different cultures. Even though they like to claim that they're all the same culture, but there's a huge difference if you travel through America. People are brainwashed into believing a lot of the time. Most people are the religion they are based on the area of the world they are in. Yeah. If you look at what British gave the world, it's endless. This was because it's collection of ideas and togetherness. Do you care that Muslims took over your country? What country did they take over? I live in Ireland at the moment. Muslims haven't taken over that country, I'm Finnish in like nationality, and they haven't taken over Finland either. I love it when I have a chatter here who's completely like out of the loop what's actually happening in the real world, who claims that he doesn't need to leave America because he has it all, and he's claiming that countries are being taken over by a religion. UK isn't taken over by Muslims either. 70% of UK is British still. Exactly. But according to Elon Musk and Twitter, if those are your sources for news, UK is already taken over by Muslims. But that's no excuse for not educating yourself on other cultures. You don't need to travel. That is true, yeah. Like, that's the same that Revival Nature said as well. Like, we have the internet at the moment. We have this device. We have a device that have unlimited amount of information on the tip of your fingertips. That's exactly, for example, like when people come to this chat and say that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Like, they're literally typing the comment with their thumbs on the most like advanced information device. And they're typing a comment that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction instead of just like, I don't know, alt tabbing and going to like your browser, whether it's like Safari or Chrome or whatever it is, and actually check. France too. France is not like even France hasn't been taken over by Muslims. The same thing, Jay. Like you can use your device that you wrote that comment with and Google or use whatever you want to use, AI or anything. Has France's government taken over by Muslims? Go for it. See what you get. Better yet, if you're too lazy to do that, I can do that. Has France's, or are you going to move the goalpost? That's usually where we go next. Has France's government been taken over by Muslims? Did you move the goalpost already? No, France's government has not been taken over by Muslims. Like, literally. Fucking 5 minutes. Now, for 5 seconds. And you get that information. And instead you just... Is UK's government... UK is still 78% British, though. But do you know who's leading the United States government? That's 100% pedo protectors. UK's government isn't taken over by Muslims either. Oh no. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is not Muslim, is actually an atheist apparently. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy, not a Muslim. Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves, not a Muslim, actually the first woman in the role. Foreign Secretary David Lammy, as above, not a Muslim. Shabana Mahmood is a Muslim, though, of Pakistani heritage, one of the most senior Muslim figures in government, but a single appointee in the large government. That's the only one. One in the cabinet is a Muslim. What's with this obsession with Muslims taking over? Where is the concern about Christian nationalism? Christina, it's because the world's richest douchebag owns the biggest social media platform at the moment. And he's obsessed about people who aren't white. He has such hatred for anyone who isn't white. Like, just go to his Twitter feed and see like what he reposts and where he reacts to and what he promotes. He's such a fucking... He spreads that hate and that fear to everyone. Do you think the Muslim religion influencing people to be terrorist? No. Do you know how terrorists are created? Do you know how people do atrocities? Let's take, for example, again, like, let's talk about Hamas, or let's talk about Al-Qaeda, for example, or let's talk about IRA. Like, people are, like, oppressed, pushed back, pushed to a corner. They don't have another way out. That is when they're most vulnerable. That's when they are most influenced by ideas of terrorism. That's my genuine answer. The worst terror attack in Europe was Andrej Breivik. If you don't know who that is, you might want to Google. That is by far the worst terror attack in Europe. Google him. Andrej Breivik, Norway. Quran, Torah, Bible, more similar books than most realize. They are talking about the same things, like communists terrorized by Western powers, and now CPP burn Moscow and build. You do mean Sharia law. We don't have Sharia law is not recognized by any governmental body or any law like Justice Institute or Justice Department. We have Christians extremists. Look at Trump, for example. I mean, as I stated, United States is run by pedos, and people are worried about Muslims. That's kind of interesting. News on Bibi. Unfortunately, Bibi is alive. Bibi is still alive. Arad Mayor says 150. Oh, that's an hour ago. Just a second, I'll refresh the page. Iran did not issue evacuation warning for Doha. Wait a fucking second. In-person classes cancelled across Israel. In Trump's own morality, we trust. But J-Rock, you're happy with your pedophile government, right? You were American. Oh my god, you have an AI picture as your profile picture with the American flag, and I guess that's Quran. Why do you have a Quran in your picture when you're so obsessed about Muslims? That looked more of a Quran than a Bible. Good answer from you. Thank you. Like, Shima, we have to understand, like I said, we need, if we don't understand and study how things are created, like, it doesn't matter. Terrorist is a terrorist. It doesn't really make a difference, like, what the color of the skin is or what the religion is. Even though a lot of people are the first thing, it's a Bible. It's not a Bible. It's made by AI. That's actually blasphemous, J-Rock, to use AI to create the holy book. So you might want to delete that. You're going to hell. You're going straight to hell. Down, baby. You'll be partying there with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Hell, baby. Oh. J-Rock lives in a trailer. Yeah, he does. No, he can't come to hell with us. Oh yeah, true. Well, he goes with the pedophiles to heaven then. What happened here, bro? We have some MAGA idiots here. But Trump hints at winding down Iran war as US deploys more troops to the region, and also as US army requests more money. So anything Trump says you can't really take seriously, because who the fuck is this guy? Every bomb on Iran is justified. Come on. No, it's not. Totally in chief. You need to deal with Russia, open the border to secure your energy supplies. Fuck no. No. We're not opening the border ever again. Until Putin and Kremlin is completely wiped out and like changed to better leadership. I have two sides of my family in Ireland. We have a family in Dublin. We talked to the family near Kilkenny, so we had family who were formerly IRA members. So crazy to see you there. Oh yeah, I saw, like back in 2011, 2012, they removed the Union Jack from the town hall. They removed the Union Jack from the town hall, so there was only the Irish tricolour. And that created riots there. Literally 1 week after we moved to Belfast. And so we saw all the riot police. We saw that it wasn't the same as during Troubles, but we saw the anger. We saw the remnants of the previous era. And it was wild to see like petrol bombs being thrown and Molotovs being thrown at like rocks and everything. And are you Irish, bro? I live in Ireland, yeah. A 19-year-old wrestler was hanged 2 days ago. Picture. I reported that. It was an open execution, like not an open execution, but like public execution. And this is, again, something that the Ayatollah regime has done ever since 1979. And you are waking up to these atrocities now. Why are you waking up to these atrocities now? I wonder. Why weren't you talking about these public executions that happened throughout the 2010s, 2000s, 1990s, 1980s? Well, I wasn't born in the I was 1 in 1980s, so. I wonder why are you everybody so interested about Iran all of a sudden? Once I remember going Belfast to a pub near my uncle's barracks. They had a shootout the year before. That would have been 2000, maybe 2003. I have a Finnish friend that moved to Belfast as well, and we went to the Falls, which is a prominently Catholic area of Belfast. Went to a pub, and he was asked, like, what does he like about Belfast? And he said that I've been in Great Britain for many times, and I think this is one of the best English cities I've ever been. He was thrown out quite fast, and he got a bit of a beating, saying that in a Catholic side of the city, that the best English city ever. I don't understand why can't the US and Israel live peacefully without war. They need war. Iran needs Lebensborn, first of all, and United States needs to be constantly in a military conflict. That's how their fucking government works. That's how the military-industrial complex works. What do you think about Trump bringing up Pearl Harbor when the Japanese Prime Minister went to White House? I think that's typical Trump. And if you listen closely, what Trump actually said was, why didn't you warn about Pearl Harbor to me? Why didn't you warn me about Pearl Harbor? Not us. He made it again about himself. Bibi needs war because he was wanted in peacetime. He's wanted still. I've been against Iran since 1979. I was 18 at the time. That's a good thing. So I've been also. I haven't been alive in 1979 though. But about the same time, I started understanding the atrocities that Israel was doing in Palestine, which is mid-2000s. I started looking at the Middle East a bit more like thoroughly. And of course, Iraq war was going on then at the same time. But yeah, I've been following the Middle East quite a long time as well. From a different angle, though. if you follow the Middle East from, let's say, a purely Western media outlet, it might look quite a bit different than if you try and investigate like from European sources, Asian sources, Middle Eastern, African, and US sources. Silent, thanks for the follow. I was so embarrassed by his comment, my heart goes out. I mean, the Japanese Prime Minister he's a Netanyahu dick rider as well. Like there was, I think it was 10,000 people protesting yesterday. Yeah. There was 10,000 people protesting in Tokyo against the Prime Minister's dangerous policies, which is, again, aligning with Israel. So the Japanese people aren't too happy about it, even though they did vote her in office, but they didn't know what they voted for. Instantly when she got to power, she started sucking Trump's ass fumes and also sucking into Bibi Netanyahu's ass fumes. Really, she's a pro-Israel person. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. As an American, thank you, Alicia, for your knowledge. Love listening to you. Stay curious. That is still like that's how I go about my days. I'm curious about what's going on in the world. What's beautiful about bombs? You're a good dude, even though I disagree on many things you say. I mean, at the end of the day, as I stated, like we are here on the same side. We have more in common than you think, even though we might disagree with some like ideas and opinions. But at the end of the day, like you and me have more in common than the people in power. Whether you live in the UK or Ireland or United States or Canada or Iran or Israel, it's the people in power who are fucking us. We have a lot of people in this country who sniff his taint on a daily basis. I enjoy watching your videos. I have learned so much from you. That's actually a really nice thing to hear. Like, I'm just most of the time speaking like I don't speak about topics that I haven't spent a lot of time. Like, you haven't heard me talk that much about Cuba. I actually talked about this with my wife yesterday. Like, I do have blind spots when it comes to global politics, and Cuba is one of them. I haven't spent as much time investigating and reading about Cuba than I have about the Middle East, about India, for example, and about China. Like, literally, I was in one of the protests when I was, 20 years old, against the Chinese concentration camps for Uyghur Muslims. And so I tend to stay away from topics I don't have enough knowledge to have a conversation. And Cuba, I need to ramp up my knowledge because it's going to be a topic that we had to, like, that is going to be on the top of the news in the next, like, few weeks. You have time, Cuba's coming up. I know. I already had a few, like, documentaries and so forth, like what to listen and what to search. I know the basics of Cuba. I know they've been in a embargo and completely sanctioned since the 1950s, late 1950s. And I also know part of it, what caused it, which was like the disagreement about the oil refineries, because the Cuban Revolution happened and the new Cuban leaders didn't want to let the United States have the old deal that they had with the old regime. So who's being bombed by the American-Israeli regime today? Iran, again, and Lebanon. 200 people were killed in Lebanon today. I think it was today. I'm going to have fun soon off to China in 10 days. I'm still a bit scared to go to China because, like, I've said a lot of bad things about the Chinese government when it comes to, like, Hong Kong and Taiwan and Uyghur Muslims and Tibet. And also I'm rallying Chinese as well to rise up, make a revolution, fight against the government. All right, I need to now go to sleep. I do have a birthday tomorrow, so we're gonna see tomorrow, and I'm gonna hopefully have a bit of a more chill stream, and we can just talk about non-political things. But yeah, where is Bibi now since the war started? He never show up till today, but only Donald Trump. Many people are still saying that Bibi is dead. I don't believe that. Happy birthday. Hey bro, what up King is Dong Pussy Crusher 5th. God damn, that's the name. We're going to Shanghai, Chongqing, and Shenzhen. And then Hong Kong. Nice. Enjoy your night and thank you for your insights. I've been to China 10 years ago. It was not what I was expected. Happy birthday. We still have time for that. Like it's tomorrow. So 22nd. What's your view on Iran, brother? I think Iranian citizens deserve freedom, but what they don't deserve is becoming a colony for Israel and Iran. Becoming a colony for Israel and the United States. That's what they don't. I'm not 21. I'm turning 37, so I'm an old fart already. Pete Hexet is a rapist too. Oh yeah, true. But they don't like Iranian people deserve freedom. The Ayatollah regime has been treating them horribly ever since 1979. But if Israel and the United States get their way, they're going to become a colony. That's not freedom. They don't have a say who's going to lead. Tehran is being bombed by Israel now, and especially now that Iran bombed 2 different cities in Israel quite heavily. There's going to be more bombs dropping in Iran soon. Enjoy your sleep. I sure enjoy hearing what you have to say about America. Happy birthday. Thanks for your insights and knowledge. Happy birthday. What's your name, boss? It's Alisa. Happy birthday. I would love to talk about Ireland. My mother's family came to America in the 1800s. There's a nice little museum in the town that is nearby that has every single piece of Irish history. Birthday in 15 minutes. I know. But I need to sleep, so I get to sleep late, and my kids are gonna bring me coffee in the morning to my bed, which is, it's the only highlight that I have on my birthday is like my kids bringing me coffee and saying happy birthday. That's the only birthday wish I have. No, I think you're wrong about the intentions of USA and Israel, but both of them, like Trump and Netanyahu, has said the same thing. They're going to decide who is going to be the leader, and the next leader is going to have to be favorable for the United States and also favorable for Israel. Both of them has said that. Also, Trump said that Reza Pahlavi is not suitable for it because they need somebody better. Also, Trump and Netanyahu has said that there might be elections in the future, but at the end of the day, who is elected or who is going to be the leader needs to be favorable for the United States and Israel. Good night and happy birthday. Hey, thanks to Revival Nigel. Thanks for being here and having a conversation. Coffee in bed is a perfect gift from your kids. Oh yeah, like I love it. I love it. All right, see you guys tomorrow. I'll be here again. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Stay informed as well. Hyvää syntymäpäivää. Thank you. Take care, guys.